Okay, so we're doing this.
Yes.
Alright, so my character is a 26-year-old archer, an auxiliary mercenary from Parthia. He has a different name, but he goes by Apollo sometimes due to a slight degree of egotism and mild derangement due to finding a magical item in a temple of Apollo and being a naturally skilled archer. He is on the way back from doing a mission with a mercenary company for a lower Greek noble and is acquiring more money through the process of, well, helping the city. Archers are always in demand for skilled and useful people.
And what is Como?
My character is a soothsayer from Malta named Boyga. He has been studying under his own master. The master has been quite a bit of a paranoiac. He's been babbling on about the end of the world and such, and has forced, essentially, Boyga to learn a few spells, which has given him quite a bit of an impact on the social status. He is a soothsayer, which is pretty much an undertaker. He is also accompanied by a manumitted slave, or essentially a freed slave, named Ekis, who's been helping him around because Boyga is actually in quite an advanced age. He is 63 years old, so he needs somebody to carry the heavy stuff around. They're currently heading off to the Plague City, essentially, to, well, do their work. They got pulled in, and they are one of the few who actually agreed to do the job.
And since some people might ask some questions, there are some liberties with what the races people are, so in case you hear some terms that are strange for humans, wink wink nudge nudge, don't worry about it. It adds some
Because I do believe that none of us are human, actually.
Yes.
Humans do exist in this setting. I mean, some people might say if you allow for non-human races, you're kind of ruining it. But I think what's spookier is seeing a weird fucking monkey or seeing something that's not a monkey and being like, okay, I guess that's not even close to human, so that's fine. Uncanny Valley is spooky, people.
Well, and it's still the idea of the magical realism. We have the existence of humanoid things.
That's what I mean. Is if you have like, okay, there's this lizard man and he's just a lizard. He's just a man that's a lizard, but then you have this lizard person and he sticks his hand against a wall and it just goes straight through. Then yes, you're probably going to question your sanity just as much as if it was, a human walking at a human.
Yeah, it's still the violation of the physical law.
That's the point of it. That's the joy. Now, as smart people as you are, you do happen to know that. Or at least it was publicly announced that from Emesa, a town which is west of Palmyra, several cohorts, so large sections of the legions, are moving over to Palmyra. As Palmyra is close to the Parthian border, they want to reinforce it, they want to keep it strong even in times of disease. So it's a clever idea to travel with a large legion to stay safe. It will take a few days to get there, around 3 days of solid marching, but you're used to it. You're Romans. You've seen the walks. You've walked the talks. You can handle a couple of days on foot. The Syrian desert, however, is a dry and rocky place, so inhospitable it may be. You are just about to leave it, and as you do, I want you to roll me a spot hidden check, which simply means rolling your dice, and if you roll under your spot hidden number, you make it.
The 100 one?
The D100, yes.
Dunzo.
Did you make it?
Okay, I'm coming.
37.
37, that's too many. And Zyla?
I modified my stats, by the way. Like I said I was going to.
No, you just select them and press R.
It's really
oh, you rolled a 2. That's basically an automatic success in many situations.
Yep.
So Zyla, with your trained archer eyes, you are able to spot that there are, in the distance, unlike the small rocks, you see horsemen, nomadic horsemen, judging by their dress, who are spying the caravan, and the moment they feel that they are spotted, quickly go back behind the rocks that they are on top of. Not many people in the caravan seem to notice, as most of them are either busy checking their wares and making sure they're ready to sell and service the soldiers, but the few that do feel a little bit uneasy, as with the weakening legions of Palmyra, who knows how far the Parthians have already pushed. Or are intending to push.
Wouldn't I have some extra information about the Parthians being Parthian?
Okay, you do. Roll me a D100 against your language as sort of a cultural awareness thing. Or I guess that would be own a kingdom, if anything, but just roll for it. Let's see how much you know about this particular brand of nomadic soldier.
Okay, which one's my ones? No, they will...
The one that is not your ones literally has
obviously,
2 numbers.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see it.
Also, Como took your green die. So.
Bastard.
We're gonna switch around. I took the blue ones. You just changed my color later.
Okay. Well, roll me some dice, Zala. Let me see what your character knows about this particular brand of soldier.
You get those.
Okay. I'll say that's enough to know enough. So what you do know about this particular brand of soldiers that they're not like vanguard scouts. They don't like go ahead of armies. You get the feeling that this kind of troop is sort of sent out to scan for strange anomalies and such. Like this kind of soldier is sort of sent out when they're like something weird's afoot. How to say this? If there was
Outriders.
like if someone was like supposed to like go ahead and check and see if there's some weird magic mumbo jumbo going ahead, this would be the kind of guy that they sent.
They'd be outriders technically.
Yeah. The caravan continues to move on ahead. The soldiers are naturally up front, but some of the legionnaires are hanging out in the back as well to make sure everyone is safe. Because picking off the weak would be great for such nomadic scouts to quickly pick off a few and take their stuff. Because some of these people are traveling with some really nice stuff, selling off to whatever Palmyrians have come into money. Because with people dying, money tends to consolidate over time, and that money needs to go somewhere. Eventually the caravan crests a ridge, and another spot hidden check may reveal something.
I did put a fair number of points into this.
Oh, that's a good one.
36.
50,
my spot
exactly.
hidden's 55, by the way, so...
Yep. So, Zyla again spots something. And as you stop in the middle of the road, Boyga and his assistant bump straight into you. As you peer in the distance, you see what appears to be a jackal around 150 yards away from you. The creature looks at you as if it was able to sense that you were looking at it, and then returns to peering at a nearby ibis. Are you going to act on this information? At this strange jackal-like creature?
Well,
since I've observed that's looking at me, you look back at the person who bumped into me and provide the commentary that I believe something is abnormal here. And I think it's right there.
well, I could check it against what I know about the natural world, I suppose.
That is a good check to make.
Your eyesight's probably terrible. You're double the average lifespan.
Go ahead and Como, roll me a natural world while I look this up.
27.
27. What's your natural world at?
61.
61. Well, that's a success. If I typed in the number wrong. Whoops. Because of this. Oh man. So you happen to note that that is not as a common folk would believe to be a jackal. That is a bardi, and that is going to require a sanity check because to look upon a bardi is it's unsettling to see those creatures because knowing what it is, you remember the vivid images of jackal-like creatures. How to describe them? They have ichor dripping from their mouths. Their teeth are longer than normal, abnormally so. It's not uncommon for bardi to have teeth growing through their muzzles, so in horrid ways. Their ears are slightly longer, and oh boy, getting a bite of one of those is like getting bit by a chainsaw. So roll me against your sanity.
800.
Yes, that's a
All right.
I think
D100.
you roll D100s for most
You
things.
literally roll against your sanity. So if this, what's your sanity at?
My sanity is 45, and I rolled 47.
That's a point going down.
Click.
And there's a good reason for you to lose that point, because suddenly the creature vanishes. The both of you are looking at it, and it's gone. And the ibis it was looking at is dead. Its neck torn clean off. And the creature lets off a very loud siren-like howl. And whereas
Do we
before...
know what a siren is?
No, but well, maybe like a siren call. I don't know. But it is a very loud, like piercing noise. very unnatural. And whereas before you and only a few other people were actually paying attention, now the entire caravan turns towards them, unnerved by this piercing sound. One of the nearby legionnaires draws his bow, but before he can shoot, the creature vanishes off with his catch.
I was in the process of doing that.
Well, good thing we are traveling with a legion.
Which may be true, to some extent. But, unfortunately, you hear a scream again. Only this is not the scream of a siren, but something else entirely. It is the scream of a person, far to the rear of the caravan. You notice, most unfortunately, that many of the legionnaires that are in the back have moved forward in response to this siren scream, leaving the rear completely exposed to attack. You see the captain. Well, actually, it's not the captain. What is he again? He's the tribune. Oh, I'm not going to read that. He is one of the higher-up standing men, named Varro, who is leading this particular set of this part of his cohort. And he orders 6 legionnaires, and you see them rushing by towards the back. Will you follow to see what is going on?
Can I attempt to see what is going on before we turn back?
You are free to make... Oh, would that be spot hidden? I guess you would just be able to see it, because unlike in D&D, your eyes are perfectly fine here. You look down ahead, and what you see is you see people gathering around. Whatever is going on, it's on the ground, and you can't see it.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to ride over, doing my probable use as a mercenary.
You arrive at the scene. You see a body torn completely to shreds. Some people standing around you are muttering and crying out about how they saw a blur appear out of nowhere. Random parts are missing, indiscriminately organs detached. You sense near the scene not just blood, but see small footprints in the area. A track check can help you identify and perhaps even follow them.
I'm going to track it. What do I roll?
45.
That is 45, yes.
35 for my track.
Unfortunately, you are only able to follow the tracks for a little bit before they start to get muddled in between the few sparse bits of grass and rock that stick out. The track is gone cold.
Not necessarily. My assistant could use spot hidden.
Well, spot hidden requires that there's something hidden to spot, and considering the speed at which this creature has moved, tracks would be a much more reliable way to go with it.
So it left, as
Yeah,
opposed to sitting
it left
out,
as
which
quick
fair
as it
enough.
arrived.
Probably doesn't want to maintain contact.
I mean, you could easily tell Bardi are not they're not animals. They're territorial. They're known to just kill people for sport. They're cats, but worse. And they also have one problem. They don't fear humans at all. So, you're punching your weight for something that small.
Can we establish if that was that or something else that killed the person?
The body is looking very similar to the ibis you saw destroyed earlier. Like, I'm talking, the wounds are very clean, but at the same time there's a lot of tearing going on. However, if you roll me a medicine check, you might be able to learn a little bit more about some abnormalities of the body.
You mean abnormalities?
Yes.
Let me see.
Yeah, Cum will have to do. I don't really have medicine skills.
You can also roll me an idea check for a lesser inclination.
Idea like insight?
No, just idea. Idea is sort of like a general, thing.
Well, I'm mostly dealing with dead people, so my forte is not necessarily medicine, but I could try. Let's see if I'm
53 for the idea check.
91 for medicine. That is way
Almost
out of
an
my competence.
automatic fail.
Yes.
Yeah, 91 is you got to be an expert to know this. So as you look at the body, you know these creatures are fast. Like, you've seen this creature in action at full speed. It's kind of unusual that creature like took a bite out of him and went. But this person, like the people responded to the screaming almost instantly. But this guy is torn to shreds as if it was more than one. It could like unless these creatures can bite more than just as a snap attack. It's incredible how much damage was done in so little time.
Can we look and count the tracks?
Count the tracks.
To establish how many of them were there.
That would require a track check because it's very difficult to tell which tracks are whose. And sadly, you're allowed to roll again just for this specific purpose.
Check. Woo! 17.
You are able to count that it must have been exactly 3 creatures that were here.
Plus the 4th one that we saw earlier.
You are also able to tell by the way the tracks are established that they only seem to be able to charge quickly, as they leave very deep paw prints when they jump off.
So they carried away pieces of the guy.
As you wait, Varro eventually comes. He checks over the body and takes a look around as he starts to ask questions. Taking names and all that. However, aren't you a soothsayer?
I am, and I will have to probably deal with that.
And if anyone knows that you are a soothsayer, you will probably be requested to perform some last rites. Although Varro insists that the body be cremated to save time.
As an undertaker, I would have to agree. Considering the creatures that are around us, that might be a good idea.
You are
the
also
less time we spend in the middle of nowhere, the better.
You are also compensated, since you're technically performing your services, with 10 sestertii.
Boop.
You also notice that the ground is like, it's rocky, it's gravelly, there's places where it's kind of sandy. It will be very difficult to bury a body here, even if you had the time.
Thankfully, typical Roman funerals involved cremation. It was one of the 5 parts of a standard Roman funeral.
But with this, nothing else seems to have happened for the day. You are left to your own devices. 2 more hours you walk until it is finally late enough. You see the Roman caravan, the Legion caravan, which is very impressive because these Romans carried their entire camp, including the posts. I want you to imagine not just the tent camp, but these people carried hundreds of logs with which to make the palisades with them. And they start to set up, and naturally people sit up as close as they can to the walls. Or at least as much as they can get away with without the guards quickly shooing them off. And naturally, camp followers begin their job of starting to pawn themselves off to whoever they can, giving whatever they can to whoever, because they're here for a reason. Money needs to be made, and with that event, people want to buy some soothing times. I'm going to give you something now, which is a very nice picture, which I might just put up on the recording as well, because it's a very nice picture of the camp. Oh heck, I did something wrong, didn't I? Oops. Oh no, okay, that's good. Here's a picture of what a Roman camp looks like. Or at least what this camp looks like.
Organized.
Well, yeah, the Romans always made their camp the exact same way. So it's like a traveling home. It's very comfortable. The guard has been posted. Patrols have been set. You are free to rummage around the camp a bit if you feel like it. Gather some rumors, perhaps.
Gather some rumors. I'm going to go and see if we hear anything about that thing I was tracking. What would I roll for that?
You want information about the Bardi?
Yeah, see if anyone else heard anything.
Let's see, what would that be? I guess that would just be gathering information. How do you intend to gather this information?
Talk to people.
You're just gonna ask around randomly? Okay.
Yeah, just talk.
Roll me your best social interaction skill, which would be persuade, bargain, that kind of stuff.
I could help with that.
Yeah, you can both roll. You'll take the better roll of those.
All right. 44.
What's
My
your
relevant skills are at 80.
2.
Well, Zyla rolled one hell of a roll right there. So as you ask around, the best information you're able to get is that one person saw the rear guard quickly run away. They heard some steps behind them, and they noticed a straggler. But before they could even respond and tell the person to catch up quickly, there was just a blur in the air, animals on top of them, and they were just tearing him apart, and then they were gone. It was well, they are at the lack of words. They just, in the middle of what they were describing, they just fall silent because what they saw they were not expecting.
Also, how well do I know this Undertaker person?
Oh, you
63.
Well, that's up to you to decide, really.
$63 what?
What, did you say the Undertaker person? My character?
Yeah, how well do I know you?
Not your age.
Oh, how well. I heard how old. Well, technically we just met because our professions don't really cross. Also, we're from different places of origin. I'm from the island of Malta, a little peepsqueak of an island in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea to the south of Italy. And you are from the west, from what I gather.
Parthia, right where we are now.
Yes, but we've only met at the caravan. We've
Yep.
only managed to show up at the same thing, and we haven't really crossed. We could have caught each other's attention and a little bit bunched up because we were
You
both
did bump
interested in the
into
same
me.
thing. Yes.
As in a physical bump into me.
Yes.
Okay, so we don't really have a connection yet.
Not yet, yes.
You do seem to be one of the few people that is investigating this, though, so there is that connection.
There is.
All right.
What I would suggest is probably check with the cavalry, considering they move far and fast, and see if they have seen anything like it before.
There is no you're not like on a military expedition going somewhere. You are reinforcements being sent to they are reinforcements sent to a location. Like there's no cavalry involved. They are meant as a garrison.
Right.
So they're mostly going to be ground troops.
Yep. So you're just gonna stay in the night and hope tomorrow goes a bit better?
We might. Let's see.
All right. So I think it'd be best
Yeah,
if
that seems fair.
you guys decide on some tokens to use, because
Yes.
as the night falls, eventually you hear, well, it's like late at night. The evening is settling. The cold Syrian desert is gathering. Fires are being stoked. People are starting to huddle up where they can. Naturally, mercenaries are given a small share if they are available. And even some legionnaires are being offered money in return for posting outside a tent. So, the situation is profitable, as expected, if a little bit frightening. And with that, as the night has fully fallen, like the sun is now behind the horizon, there's not a shred of light. Even on the palisade, you see it vanish. Suddenly, there is a shout from the south end of the camp. Where are you at this point? Like, are you still in the camp? Have you retreated to whatever place you've decided to sleep at? Is that inside, outside?
Apollo would be taking one of the jobs guarding one of the tents, for he is an excellent archer.
Mm-hmm. And
Boyga would probably be in the middle of the rest of his civilians tagging along, considering they would probably need some sort of, well, religious service.
Also, he's old. He needs his rest, probably. Like, you gotta remember, 63 at this time, you're like
Yes.
the
I'm
equivalent
pushing
of 90s.
Yes.
90s people can be spry, though.
Yeah, I just don't expect he would be awake all night.
Yes.
To be fair, back in these days, once night fell, people just went to bed. Lighting was hard. But
Yes. My main character would be asleep. His assistant, however, would not be.
your assistant, however, would be roused by a noise coming from the camp. And that noise is, as you would expect, someone screaming. Shortly afterwards, you hear the horn of legionnaires rushing alarm, and several hundred armored men rushing out of tents. I want you to take a token and put it up on the board, as I myself must get a few components involved.
If you could make me a token.
Oh yeah, I forgot to promote you guys. Oh, no, don't mute Como. Promote him.
Mute.
Bam.
You need not speak for a tabletop game. Wait. Actually, I think that's wrong. I think you do.
These are meant to be legionnaires, though, Como, so... If you don't have any components yourself selected, I can give you some dudes. Here's a knight.
I got a bunch of random stuff laying around.
And here's a card bot. Actually, I'll look in something else that might be better. There's a few kobolds. And a lizard.
Yep.
An archer.
And an archer. Okay. Now, unfortunately, I need to summon in a few creatures. Namely, some Hellhound tokens will do. So, the way this works is everyone has 8 speed unless specified otherwise. And we are standing amidst several of the civilian tents. There's a large tent over here. Somewhat smaller tent over here. And what Como's assistant sees is a Bardi. Or at least a group of Bardi. Rushing right towards him. And you, as hired help, better pull your weight as the legionnaires are starting to rush forwards towards them.
So where are the Bardi in relevance to me?
Depends. Just set yourself down wherever you wish. And that is where you are. Now the fun thing about this game is that you don't roll for initiative. It is just whoever has the highest dex gets to move first. Which is nice, simple, straightforward.
So what's your dex, Goma?
On the assistant, it is 14.
For Apollo, 16.
15 for my main guy.
16, the legionnaires are clocked in at 14. And we'll say that heroes go first, and okay. So it'll be the archer, then it will be our dear friend Como, the lizard man, and then, finally, it'll be the Bardi, then the legionnaires.
Okay. So, the archer wheels about, having had the bow... Oh, I had this selected still. Having had the bow drawn this whole time for obvious protective reasons. And I'm just going to take a shot, like, immediately.
Roll your D100 against your bow skill. That's a hit.
Got it.
Okay, now I'm going to roll for the Bardi and see if they manage to make a dodge roll. What is their dodging ability? Why doesn't it mention this? Oh, well. We'll just say that it isn't dodging because it is still rushing towards you. So, you make your shot. Roll your damage. Don't forget you get half your damage bonus if you have any.
Let me check. My damage on this bow is 1d8, I believe.
1d8. Any damage bonus?
Doesn't say one.
It's the sum up your strength and size.
I don't think they have enough for that, though.
Maybe they do.
My strength and size is 21.
Yeah, I think it's 23 before you start getting damage bonus.
Which is weird, because why even get that for a bow?
Yes, you get half. As in
weird.
you're able to pull it a bit better.
Yeah.
Or you shoot bigger arrows, who knows? Roll me your damage and see how much you fuck up a Bardi.
Max damage!
Max damage. Okay, so you hit this Bardi. The arrow goes straight through. Now, unfortunately, Barty have rather thick hide, but you still manage to hurt it like quite a bit. There's just an arrow sticking out of this creature now. However, that is your action for the round, because unlike in D&D, just straightforward, one action. Nice, plain, and simple. Putting the action with the swordman.
Yes, well, rushing forward and trying to hit the three of them would be a suicide, considering how they managed to mangle up the person back then. So what I would attempt to is to wait for them to get entangled with the Legionnaires and then attack them from the side or from the back.
Okay, you prepare yourself.
Yes.
Staying on dodge. Okay. Moving on, it is the Bardies' turn. The Bardies rush forwards at insane speeds. These creatures are faster than you've seen anything move before. They rush straight at a single Legionnaire all together, going in for the pack tactics of focus fire, which is not a bad move to go with. And they all roll to mess him up. The Legionnaire gets to roll to try and keep himself safe. He has a large shield. It does not mention his shield skill. I guess shield skill isn't a skill you can invest in them, but it's weird because the sheet does mention.
Could be base.
Could be base. I gotta pull that up because I wasn't expecting them to not mention that.
I think base skill for the big shield 5 or 15.
15, yeah, it's 15. That's kind of low. Sure,
It's
weird.
bigger
I think a
for
Legion-
small and medium.
I think a kite shield, which is a legionary shield, would be more practiced in.
The Bardy. Oh, no. The Bardy roll a 6. They're going to start tearing into this guy. And he rolls a 42 on his ability to dodge. He's also outnumbered, so I don't think he's going to make the rest of these, considering that they barely rolled a critical success. They all go in for bites, which are 1d4. So that's 2 plus that's 5, 6. Lucky for him, however, the Legionnaire sort of backs up and tries to keep himself secure, which he managed to succeed at rather well, because you have to remember this one thing about a Legionnaire, is they wear some pretty heavy armor, and these are but small Bardi. Even with their very sharp, unnormal fangs. Metal plating is still metal plating, so there's only so much they can realistically do.
Split mail was really useful.
Yep, and so the Legionnaires start to decide to follow tactics, going all for one guy. I'll roll 2 attack rolls and see if they make it. Ooh, 17. And they hit. The Legionnaires hold their swords back. They get 1d6 plus 1 plus 1d4. Ooh, they got some heavy hitters here. But they are Legionnaires. This is their job. They roll 6. That's 7. That's 8. Let's just say they fucked this thing up, because at this point they've dealt enough damage. So they all jump on a Bardy and manage to give it a good old-fashioned slaying. The archer gets the turn.
Okay. Which is the one I injured?
The one that has -6 appended to its name.
Ah, good point. Gonna shoot at that one again. Can I take a... Is the 5-foot step a thing in Call of Cthulhu?
No, but you don't have to worry about being attacked in... I think with firearms, it's like shooting in melee range gives you a penalty die, but will not be too considered because this is a small animal and it's already distracted, so...
Roll and hit. Ah, 90.
Ooh, that's a hard one. Roll me a luck roll to see if you hit someone else. Oh, don't forget, by the way, you are allowed to spend your luck, provided that you write your number down.
Wait, how do you spend luck?
So the way it's in Pulp Cthulhu, but I like the system. You get to spend 1 for 1 point. You get luck back at the end. I think it's 2d10 plus 10, or yeah, it's a whole system. Essentially, you get to spend 1 for 1. You get to spend 10 for a bonus die. There's a whole bunch of stuff related to it. So you could spend 10 for a bonus die and try that 90 again. Or you could just roll luck to not hit someone.
I'm gonna try that 90 again. So, what happens?
You roll another d10. The bonus dice and penalty die are always your 10s.
Okay, so just 1d10.
Yes, just roll your 10. That wasn't a real roll. We'll just say that wasn't a real roll. That was just a little blump. That might be enough, actually.
Based on my skill, my bow skill's 75.
Yeah, you make it. You land another arrow square inside the creature.
D8 is right here. 1.
Okay.
Luck does not want this roll to be good.
So you roll a 1. Yeah, that arrow does nothing. The thick hide,
Wait.
it goes in, but the thick hide, you didn't do any real damage.
No, look at that die. It's on its edge. That's new.
That is. Yeah, I'm gonna give that a 7 then.
Yeah, because that is should logically have rolled to the 7.
That is no,
Yeah,
just because it's so fucking weird.
The thing about the tabletop is that the coins and dice and all that often land on the side. I don't know what's causing that, but we need to set up the rules that we adhere to. So
when it
in
rolls
this
on its
case,
side, you get the best possible
the
outcome.
best results. Okay.
Best of the two choices.
So this creature's
Unless
looking
it's a coin, then
is looking pretty messed up because there's like blood coming out. It's panting a bit. And now the turn goes to our heroic friend.
Yep.
a heroic opportunistic friend.
Approach it and try to attack it with the sword. With a Kopesh.
Roll
Let's see.
your
I need
Kopesh.
to roll less than, how much is that? Less than 80, and I've rolled 86. Wow.
No, you rolled 68.
Oh yeah.
So roll your damage, big boy.
Right. 1d8. Where's the d8 side? And it rolls 8.
1d8, and you also get a plus 1d4 for bonus damage.
Yes. 1d4. Where's that?
It's a blue pyramid.
That's 11.
So you basically cut this thing in half and kill it with the amount of firepower you're packing there, boy. Just a straight clean cleave. However, the thing is, these creatures were when the first one went down, they were sort of skittering back and they were sort of moving around a bunch. Because while these are pack creatures, when they are bested, they will sound retreat. And so the last one lets off a devastating howl, and does some weird. So how to describe this? Every single shadow in the immediate environment starts to smear out and grow until they envelop any nearby light source, causing the entire area to turn dark. This lasts for a very brief moment, and I want you to give me a sanity check. And by the time the shadows have retreated back to their normal shapes, the Bardi has left.
I rolled 99.
You rolled
Actually,
a
double
straight-
zeros. Double zeros is crit fail. So that's pretty bad still.
40.
You keep your mind about you. You'd only take 1 point of sanity damage. Como, however. Como's little assistant.
Wait, I take a point.
Yes. So here's how sanity damage works. There are two numbers with sanity damage. One, you get this one anyway. Second, if you fail, you roll this. So
okay.
there's some are 0, but sometimes it's like 1 or 2, just to show that this is really fucked up, and it's unsettling. Como, you roll me a 1d6.
Yes.
As your character is as etchy is like Ekis.
Oh,
Ekis is unnerved and startled. He just killed something, and suddenly the shadows have come to life to claim him. Shaking and unnerved, he wrings his hands together somewhat until finally the shadows have retreated, and he feels so relieved, but still out of his doing. And
Also,
as this
question.
happens,
Como,
Yes.
did you say you're using a Kopesh or a Kopis?
Kopesh.
Interesting choice.
as this
That's
happens,
been out.
Varro himself comes running in. He doesn't look none too happy, even with 2 dead Bardi at the feet of his legionnaires. This guy is an impressive-looking fellow. He is a big, humans tend to be the ones in the higher positions in the Roman Empire, but this guy is a big bear of a man, quite literally. And he holds out a very impressive-looking gladius that glows in a silverish light. And with a big snort, he says everyone to stand attention as he leers. And he swings his sword around the air and tells everyone to gather at the forum, which includes all civilians, as he wants to do a head count.
Okay, time to go and gather.
Time to go wake up the old man.
Everyone is gotten for the head count. The people directly below him, centurions and all, start to perform a head count to make sure that everyone is here, or at least everyone that they previously counted. Who knows if anyone might have joined, like a spy or sorts. But they're just making sure that like the most important people that they know about need to be kept safe are here and alive. Naturally, Boyga is recognized. The mercenary is also recognized by someone else in the crowd who has enough import that they are on that list. Funny enough, everyone seems to think that they used to write on tablets, but no, there are pieces of parchment from that era surviving. It's really funny because I read a book where it's really fun. They used to give people sweeping duty, and it was like, sweeping duty. It's incredible how little things have changed over time, even for the Romans.
Remember, Romans had fast food.
Yeah, I'm surprised about that. I know a little about it, but I do know. So here's the thing: Varro didn't get to his position by licking boot heels and being a nice man. He got here because he is one of those strong, disciplined legionnaires. So when he sees the guard, who are like every single one of the legionnaires is like looking sweaty and somewhat unnerved because they just had a rough night. They were about to go to bed, and suddenly the Bardi attacked, and now they're all not feeling it. And Varro steps up, and he slams his hand up on a war drum that's in front of him. And he asks to know if anyone has an explanation for what's been happening here tonight. Why the guard has faltered so much. And no one answers. And so, the guards, who have failed in their duty, because there have been innocent lives, like he pulls his hand out. And naturally at this point, Boyga is requested to assist, as there are around 6 bodies. Some legionnaires and some civilians.
I put up my wool cloak and my mask and proceed to do exactly that.
The bodies are quite in rough shape. Some clearly have been caught off surprise, like the man was. Others, more like the Ibis, have simply been struck to kill with very swift maneuvers. And how about you, bro, roll me a listen check, as people are starting to whisper and rumor around you.
Me too?
Of course.
Or just them?
Oh, both. Because
I rolled 32, I think.
Does that make your listen check?
25, so no. I am occupied with the thing, and the mask is plugging my ears.
And Sila?
What was my list? I'm going to check what I put for listen again. Nope, I missed it by just a few points.
So, a thing you can do, by the way, in this game is you can also push your rolls, but the results are more disastrous. You basically re-roll your entire thing, but if you fail, the results are a little less pleasant. In most cases, that means hurting yourself. In some cases, it means getting literally false information.
I don't think we can hurt ourselves by listening intently.
Yes, I know. I'm just saying that that's an option you can do. You can't do it with combat, but just as a thing, if
Does
you ever...
it consume
no,
luck? Or
it does not consume luck. Pushing is just, you might... Like you're trying to pick a lock, you might break it and make the situation worse than if you just tried again. But
right, but not with listen. Fair enough. Let's see.
No. So, Como, as
I do
you
hear something, yes.
As you stick around...
So do I.
Oh, we both make it.
Elf.
Ooh! We got some high rollers here tonight. Or low rollers.
Also, my character is as a rabbit, so...
Your ears are over.
I hear super well.
The point is, Zyla, Apollo manages to hear several people who are like whispering about how if it's this bad out in the outskirts of Palmyra, like how much worse is it going to get? Like in Palmyra itself, like are the Bardi in Palmyra, like with this kind of rampant animals running around? You, on the other hand, Kokomo, Boja happens to hear some of the legionnaires like kind of scuffling around, and they're not sounding too happy because. Do you know what fustuarium is?
That doesn't ring a bell. Could you provide some context?
So, essentially, it is a punishment where legionnaires are stripped of their armor and literally beaten to death with cudgels for dereliction of their duty. The entire guard is basically thrown in front of everyone else to get clubbed to death over this.
This doesn't sound like a very good idea considering the dangers that are here. I would try to suggest perhaps postponing this until we reach the city.
You have no authority over this. I would not get involved. Apollo suddenly just says to him.
I know. I do, however, work with the corpses, so I point to them and say, is it really worth
Roll persuade
discarding?
to get Varro to agree. This big,
Okay.
dangerous, black, gruff bear man.
Much as that. 90 exactly.
No,
Not
you're
an-
70.
Is it set?
Yes, you're
Is
70.
it 60 or is it what? Okay, well, in that case, yes, I have rolled, and my stat here would be 80, so I do manage to persuade him.
It's 90.
It is 90, and you said 60, so then I do not.
Your stat is 70. So you failed.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Varro does not really appreciate this, and you are subject to castigation,
Funky.
which means you are hit with a big old staff for 1d6 damage. However, since you're an old man, your manservant is allowed to take the punishment in your stay, because as much as Varro is all for discipline and punishment, he's not going to beat an old man, your age especially.
Yeah, that goes badly.
That's the benefits. Yes.
If only because with the shadow thing that went on, he's like, this old man can probably curse me too.
And I roll a 6.
A roll d6.
Yes.
Sila, how much longer can you keep up?
A little bit longer.
Okay. Let's see if we can make it to the town, because not much happens after this. So roll me that d6, Borja.
5.
He's a hurtin'. You can, I recommend applying first aid.
Yes.
What was first aid again? I forgot. I think it's like you apply 1d6 healing or something.
Per injury.
Yes. So you can roll me a first aid check to try and help your manservant. Well, I guess it's not your manservant, it's just your... You have to roll your first aid check first. Yeah, you make it.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
So yeah,
And I roll
you
first,
basically
yeah.
you basically heal him of almost all of his injuries. You patch him up real good, like.
Gonna
Yes,
be
but he
sore for
has
a
lost
bit.
1 hit point.
He still has a few bruises, but I mean it wasn't meant to kill, so it'll probably heal off in a few days. By the time you
Yes.
arrive, it'll be fine.
So I keep it unmoved. Okay.
So
Apollo is shaking his head at the rather foolhardy old man.
So the situation has the night for the rest is pretty calm. However, Boyja, you are given 60 sestertii for your services. Though you are disciplined, you still technically performed your services, and so you are compensated. Sila, you get to roll me 2d4 to see how much you are paid for your night's services, as your the person who worked for you knows that you're probably going to press the price, so he quickly doubled it.
6.
60. You get 60 sestertii for a single night's service, which is quite a bit when you think about it. However,
Us Parthian archers are in high demand.
actually, I'm going to give you a fancy coin because I like the fancy coins in this. Where is the
Aurelius?
Not Aurum. God, I forgot where they are. Where are the fancy coins? Are they on the... Oh, well. Anyway, you're given a fancy silver coin, which 2 fancy silver coins and 10 sestertii instead. I really want to find this because I really do like... Okay, here we go. I found it. Bup, bup, bup. You are given... Oh, those are 4. I thought they were bigger.
That's
So how
what
much
you
was it?
said.
That's great. So since you got 60, 60 divided by 4, that's 15. So you were given 15 denarii. Denarii are described as small silver coins. They're frequently used to settle trade debts. So they're not a bad kind of coin to be paid in.
That is fair enough. However, coins made of gold and such would probably be very hard to exchange.
So funny thing about Aureus is that they are gold coins where they funnily say they are often given as a bonus, or some would say a bribe, to the Legion for the ascension of a new emperor.
Yep, to make sure that they don't get upset about it.
So yeah, you're paid handsomely for your services because naturally you've done good service. Like no one near you died, so people are content. But the next few days are relatively calm. You can roll me a spot hidden check to see if you can spot any more Bardi or see anything unusual about their presence.
57, and my spot hidden is 1 second.
31,
80.
mine's 45.
Mine is 80, and I rolled
Wait, how many skills do you have at 80?
just a handful.
Yeah.
Just a few.
So
Do you have, like, no other skills?
2 characters. Well, my assistant has less intellect, so he's not as smart as the main guy. However, he reads a bunch of books, so his language knowledge is higher, and his education is higher, which means that he has managed to
put
a
it
few
simple,
skills
he
up.
has a decent spread, but
Yes.
And he has 2 characters.
yeah. And also, everyone in Rome is generally educated, so. Anyway, who passed? Who passed is the question.
I did.
Okay, Zyla, you have your Apollo, I mean. So, as the day go by, hit-and-run tactics are performed. Despite any best efforts you might have made to protect people, these Bardi are clever. They are protecting their turf with every effort they can. And so every few hours, you hear a loud scream, and Boyja, roll me a 1d6. Because at this point, the guards are not going to pay you as much.
Correct.
So you are paid a lump sum of, how much? Let's see. That's a nice amount. You are paid 25 quinari, which is around 50 sestertii, for the total of, actually, it's not what's okay. So you're just paid 50 sestertii in total for, as a lump sum for any other person that dies along the way. Because it's getting a bit silly by now.
Yeah.
And so they give you that. The guard is double, but every single time it fails. The Bardi are clearly far too good for normal human senses to properly catch up on. One of the guards does succeed. Like, one set of guards actually succeeds at keeping the whole place safe, and their life is spared. But it's very easy to tell why, as that particular guard of that particular night happened to be, let's just say, they're of a race that has a little bit more going on in the census department. They have the racial advantage. But eventually, you can see Palmyra in the distance, and as you do, so does the Bardi attack stop. And so people start to rummage more. Roll me some listen checks, as people start to talk about the rumors they heard in the city.
29.
Oh.
27.
So, let me pull up the sheet. So one of the rumors in Palmyra is that supposedly there is an unusual amulet salesman who is selling amulets that's said to ward off disease. Another interesting thing you hear is that many people believe that the recently constructed aqueduct is to blame for the disease, as the water spirits have been made unhappy. The aqueduct has been claimed to have been built shoddily, despite its successful function.
Corruption.
Also,
Cutting corners. How normal.
You've also noticed, by the way, over time, that Varro's blade does indeed glow an actual light when he pulls it near the Bardi. Which is unusual, since most Romans, especially in the army, if you want to do magic, you gotta be a special type, so he must hold some sort of sway to be allowed to have a magical weapon of such sorts. But as they arrive, the whole army sort of dissolves into the city and are given their stay. You see the beautiful white, slightly orangish walls, like they match the desert just perfectly. But you are now at the city, free to do as you please. The two of you are ultimately the last people standing outside, as everyone else is inside, to pawn their wares and their services where they may.
You could probably use a mask of mine. I do have a spare. Would you like to bargain for it? Or would you like to risk the disease?
The disease probably came from my country.
Well, about that, you also happen to have heard that it's not one disease. Like, people are having all kinds of diseases. Even like
City,
diseases
basically.
that treatment exists for, the treatment doesn't work. Or at least that's the rumors you've heard. There is one consistent theme, which is this is not one disease.
The mask in itself, in universe, prevents disease but does not cure it. So if you do fall sick, it will be a little bit too late for that. I will let you have my spare for...
Why, though?
Hmm?
I mean, at this point, you guys are allowed to say, like, what if you have more encounters over the course of this.
I do have to ask, what kind of mask is this?
It is a skull mask.
It's just a
with
little.
ornaments.
Yes, it is just a little bit. Well, how would I put it? Early gas mask, I would say. It's filled with herbs and such, which is
So the
believed
Plague
to
Doctor
prevent.
mask
Yes, Plague Doctor.
from 700 years later.
Yes, but we do have a few anachronistic things here, and a little bit of.
It's got a bit of a
unnatural.
shaman feel to it, though, with how it's designed
Yes.
and decorated. Like, it's not like insulated or gas-proof. It's more like just a skull mask with some herbs on it.
Yep. Taffy has a description for it if you want to take a look.
If I could have a look, that'd be neat.
It'd be hard to make an actual Plague Doctor mask out of a... Well, I guess you could if you found some leather and worked it up a bit. I wonder, did those things have lenses? How opaque were they, considering the glassworking of the time?
Probably not very, but considering I mostly deal with the corpses, which are within the hand's reach, it doesn't really matter much.
I guess that's true. Did you give Sal the description?
Yes, you copy-pasted it to me. 1 second. Let me search for it.
But yes, did you have any further engagements with each other? Is a question.
I assume they've had some sort of discussion after the whole old man getting hit thing.
Yes. Well, the old man didn't get hit.
Okay, the old man's
helping it.
buddy getting hit.
Yes, I've sent you the description for that.
Oh, so it's literally a skull, so it's... Okay.
Yes. I guess that's the detail you missed.
Yeah, because I was thinking, like, the...
Yeah, it does look like a
Venetian
bird skull,
Plague
yes.
Doctors.
It's got that feel to it. However, you are a mercenary, so solving problems is where money is made.
Yes, but going with the classical religious overtones, since he is kind of crazy in that regard. Apollo probably would not take it due to his attachments to Apollo, who is, like everything else, the god of medicine.
Apollo has too many fields.
Yes, he does. Apollo has like 45 million things he's in charge of.
Now, despite everything, this situation concerns Boja because he does the whole death thing. He'd probably visit local doctors and all. I mean, there are like local doctors to visit. There's temples to visit. There's bathhouses to visit. Palmyra has some nice bathhouses.
Galenic medicine.
And I did take some sanity damage.
Yes.
By the way, back to the assistant. Does he take any sanity damage from the spell, the darkness spell?
We already did that. We already rolled for the sanity damage. I think it was a full 6.
Yes. Yeah, I need to account for that. 1 sec. So it's now.
Sorry, I know way too much about like this period of time.
Yes.
That's good. That's good.
It's good. That's the
Yeah,
great
but
thing.
it's making the anachronisms actually sort of hurt my brain because I'm trying to wrap my head around all of them.
Oh. Well, don't worry. Once we get to the 1920s, it'll be a bit better. I won't talk
Yeah.
about smartphones.
The sword is actually in the actual manual.
Yes.
Which annoys me because it shouldn't be.
What is with the
shouldn't be.
Kopesh?
The Kopesh wasn't used since 1300 BC. It was replaced by the Kopis, which was a straighter bladed sword made in the Greek empires.
See? This guy knows his shit.
Oh man, the Kopesh looks so much better than the Kopesh.
The Kopesh was actually kind of shitty and made out of copper,
I
Yes.
know.
and almost never spread out of Egypt. Someone out of Malta wouldn't even have one.
So, would you suggest to rename it?
Kopis.
Okay.
Yes.
A Kopis, or even getting what's the other one offhand? Trying to remember a word. Shiphos, a Shiphos, which was the more martial sword.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, wow, that's neat. I actually looked it up. That's pretty cool. So
There, I know like way too much shit.
that's good. Do feel free to interject because it really helps out. Now the point is, you're in the town, or you're near the town. I don't know where you are. You've probably gotten a little closer to each other. At least enough that perhaps you would feel to investigate this together. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're here to play D&D, please. At some point, someone has to ask the question, we're here to play D&D, right? In this case, we're here to play Call of Cthulhu, right?
Yes.
So invent a reason for you two buddies to hang out together. Maybe it was over a night of some fine wine.
Fuck you, pay me.
Maybe, in fact, you are paid by a rich man who was like, I wanted to go to Palmyra to enjoy the sights. If you succeed at this, I will pay you a few aurum.
Aurum would be a very good way to get my attention.
Odds are he probably saw the soothsayer too and said, well, you've got the guy who knows the things, you've got the guy who can hold a bow, the guy who can hold a sword. How about you go and figure the situation out so I can enjoy my baths in peace and quiet? How does that sound as a motivation to do your investigation?
Yeah, money. Or just the fact that Apollo is confused about these creatures blighting so close to his homeland.
Well, to be fair, Bardi are sort of native, quote-unquote, to the area. The Bardi are not out of unusual for this place, so...
Hey, so yeah, money.
They're also not known as disease carriers, as Boyja can tell you. Or you can tell, because you probably know what they are. Jackals aren't known for being disease spreaders as much as rats.
And again, you don't know that much about disease.
Yeah. But, you know, people can still make relations between, oh, there's lots of rats here, there's lots of disease here. That might mean something. Or at the very least, common, like, local theories of, like, the rats brought the disease. They're magical, I tell you. Maybe I'm overestimating how smart people were. Probably. I mean, but considering...
I mean, the Black Plague still happened.
The Black Plague still happened.
Several hundred years after this, too.
Well, to be fair, there was a limit to what they could do about rats.
Yeah, but you know what they thought brought the Black Plague?
Not enough Jesus?
Cats. There was actually, like, a mass killing of cats.
Did they notice the Black Plague got worse?
No, because they all died.
Well, not all of them, but a whole bunch, yes. One of the most successful ways to avoid the Black Plague was to just fuck off in the middle of nowhere and just sit in the house. Well, problems start when somebody falls sick there. And
well, you know what actually brought the Black Plague?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fleas.
Yeah.
The Black Plague cannot be transferred by any other way.
Yes.
Huh. It's interesting that they were able to learn that so long after the fact.
Because it's still around.
Well, oh yeah.
Because that's how it still survives. Yeah.
Yeah,
just because not as many people die.
Plague.
Yeah, especially in regions like India or whatever, which are
actually
still
the last one was the last big one was in the mid-east of the U.S. Only killed like 3 people, but that was a big one relatively.
Man. However, let me just spread out your options in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to take the investigation up. So, Palmyra is an oasis town. It's got the walled city part. There's some outskirts where mostly traders hang out. There are a few main locations you can visit, as seen on the map. There's the garrison. There are the temples. There are the bathhouses. The Senate House, but good luck getting in there. You can visit, you can get some word on the street.
We could use the influence of the rich guy, however, to get in there eventually.
There's a limit to how much he wants to get involved in this, though, because he's just a random rich dude. Him getting involved in this disease research, it's not going to look good for him.
Fair enough, so he
wants the credit when you succeed, but he doesn't want to... So you can also visit the physicians, because a lot of like, they've concentrated their doctoring population. There's also the merchants and, like, the higher-ups, who you might be able to get. The Senate, difficult. The city, by the way, is also kind of split up. There's the Parthian side, which has been riddled more by disease than anyone else, and then there's the rich Roman side. There's also a very large amount of musicians around town, you've noticed, usually near wells. You can try the prefect, but you'll have to swing your hips around to do that.
Which temple gods do we have here?
There are 3 large temples in Palmyra. That is the Temple of Alat, the Temple of Nebo, and the Temple of Bel. Feel free to do some research.
I would consider going to the physicians then and check what the situation in the city is.
Okay. Your first objective is this until Alzila does her research.
Yes.
The physicians. So near the garrison.
Wait,
They
which
are
ones are they? Because I'm trying to spell them properly.
okay. You can check the map, but here they go. It was Alat, Allaat, Nebo, Nebo, and Bell.
Okay, I figured it out. Mesopotamian base.
So your first visit is the physicians, who are all concentrated near the garrison, because, as you would imagine, the army would prefer to have to A, keep them safe, and B, get the first treatment. However,
On
they're
the
also
eastern side, on the western side of town, yes.
yes, on the western side of town where the garrison is. The doctors, however, are very hurried. There's moaning, there's coughing, there's just the air is unpleasant and thick with death. The investigators, aka you, might have some issues getting someone to talk to because all the physicians are very busy.
I would look around for a person trying to get their either some rest or a shut-eye or a meal, if possible at all.
The sick people don't have much to say. They're too busy being sick. Like, they are just
Yes.
not in the mood to talk.
What about the doctors themselves?
They are very busy. So it might take a bit of convincing to get one of them to listen.
Okay, fair enough. Can I roll persuade?
I don't know. Let's see. What kind of conversation options are there for this? Because I need to pick the right one for this. There is persuade. There's fast talk. I guess it would be more of a fast talk situation.
Fast talk.
Because you're trying to get their attention with a
Fair
quick
enough.
lie.
Let me see. Yeah, that might be a critical failure for me. So, no, I don't think I will attempt that. I suppose I will let them to their business.
So you wait around a bit.
Mhm.
And eventually a physician notices you and asks if something is wrong with you, if you require assistance of some sorts.
An assistance is indeed required.
He also asks why you're wearing a skull on your head. Like, this man is just like,
It's a religious thing. Don't pay no mind to that.
He shakes his hand like he lives close to Parthia. He's like, oh, whatever.
I take slight offense at that.
I mean, this place is Barty. What the hell, man? So
Right. So to get the feel on the situation in the city, how many people are sick, even if it is an estimate? Is there any information on what could be causing that? Whatever. Just get as much information as possible on the current plague ravaging the city.
okay. So what specifically do you want to know? Like, the amount of people that are sick isn't probably going to help you too much.
How long ago did this start? How many people relative to the rest of the population of the city are currently sick? Are there any specific hotspots that the disease is covering the most currently?
Okay. That's enough questions for now.
Yes.
If I recall correctly, oh man, I forgot which one it was.
Question
So, what?
for Como, for backstory
Yeah.
relative to medicine. What kind of religious-based medicine does your character follow?
He does not necessarily follow anything other than the tribal because he has to deal with a bunch of people of different religious backgrounds. So
The Roman way of doing things.
yes, he knows a little bit of all, but he's not necessarily religious himself. This is mostly just the means to earn a living.
So, Greek-derived, or
Roman
because there is, well, yeah, that's Greek-derived mostly,
right?
because there is a lot of stuff about that would actually be kind of contradictory to how you're acting. Most medicine was humoral.
The humors.
Yeah, you would believe that the problems were actually internalized, or possibly something wrong with something very specific. Like
what was it again? It was blood, black bile, yellow bile, and sweat?
Phlegm.
Phlegm, yeah. I'll need you to give me a quick rundown after the game, all right? If you have the time.
Okay, because I want to make sure that
Yes.
characterization
Everything is in
stages
order.
and everything,
Yes.
because otherwise we get medical forensics that won't exist for like 1700 years.
Well,
Yes.
you're free to use your common sense as you wish. But moving on.
Mhm.
I assume he's a bit jaded. Like he's probably dealt with enough people that he's got like pragmatic ideas over religious ideas, is what he's trying to
Yeah,
get
but
at.
still base knowledge.
Okay. Now, what questions were asked again? Where it came from? So, most affected. Let me see that I get this right. Most affected is the Northwestern District, which is a very Parthian district, very poor district. Smaller houses, as you can see on the map, it's smaller houses, very dense, not a lot of open space. The Parthian area is just most affected of all. It happened 3 months ago at first, and it started in the northwest. At least that's what you seem to get. The eastern area, where the fancier houses are, seems to be one of the areas where the disease is very thinly spread. Like, if there's any, it seems to be incidental more than anything.
Fair enough.
And most common cures for even minor illnesses are not working. And probably an interesting detail you catch, but you don't catch this from the doctor, but like in the background, is that you hear someone whisper, like, well, it's so weird, is that the only people that make it through are those with, like, lesser illnesses. Like, the minute you have something bad, you're basically dead no matter what. So it seems that minor illnesses are survivable, but anything severe, and you're basically dead. I love how this list has syphilis on it. Anything else you'd like to ask? Put your investigator cap on.
Yes. My anachronistic Sherlock Holmes cap.
Oh, anachronistic would be syphilis. That didn't occur in Europe for 1,500 more years.
This book's terrible.
It most likely was an American disease.
So, questions.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll let Sala pick a destination and we'll call it.
Gonna go check out. Gonna check the temples.
Okay, but
since I would know a little bit of those religions.
Yes.
So you're gonna go to the temple straight away? Not gonna keep the physician up any longer?
No, because I don't really have any questions for him.
Yep.
Okay. You head off to the temple. Which temple are you going for? Because they are...
Nobu.
Nebo.
That's to the southeast from our current location.
So you're like in the garrison, you're going to Nebo, and that's a distance from here. On your way, you pass several wells, at every well there's a musician singing. There are musicians singing and standing. You pass the theater, which is empty and desolate. There's like a sign saying that there's daily shows, but there's also a sign next to it saying that they've been canceled until the actors are feeling better.
Until the actors are not dead.
Yeah, that'd be a great circumstance if they weren't dead. Eventually you reach the Temple of Nebo. It's just east of the Senate building, and it's near the main street. It's still under construction, but there are oracles who are taking care, accepting sacrifices, that kind of stuff. What is the cella? Oh, there we go. The small chamber. So there are some oracles you can go and talk to. Would you like some bone reading services? One of the bearded priests asks.
I would like to talk to the scribes.
What do you wish to ask the scribes?
Recent news. Recent death records.
Very well, very well. And he sort of leads you along to where a single scribe is sitting. There's enough space and like tables for multiple scribes, but you can guess where the other ones went. Which is unusual, since you'd think a scribe would be paid better than in these times.
Yeah, but they're dead.
Or just sick, which is might as well be dead, depending on if they got it bad or not. The scribe looks up. It's a scrawny scribe. What do you want? Why are you here?
Hello, brother of the gods. Sense from my place. I wish to check your records for what has been occurring as of late.
Which records? And he looks over several shelves behind him, where there are like rolls and things that look like books, but they're just like stacks of paper with some leather to keep it all weighed down.
We did discover that the events have transpired since 3 months ago, so we have a rough estimate on which dates to look at. So 2 months ago.
2 months ago. So 3 months ago, it just kind of sparked up. Like disease reports were common enough that some physicians were starting to say some rumors about it. So it might have happened before 3 months ago. Hard to say. But as you look through the records for 2 months ago, you start to notice that indeed there is a much higher density, to the point that some of the scribes have started using shorthands for how people have died. Like the scribe even holds up a little scrap of paper and says that this is the shorthand that they've been following for how to write what disease supposedly killed someone. Although it's guesswork, because some of them are like, it might have been this one, I guess. You know, forensic science doesn't exist, so they just go by what they hear. And there's a lot of unknowns, but natural causes assumed.
Natural causes, so no outwardly appearance
Natural
of
causes
blood.
in the sense that they didn't die by a blade.
Right.
That was like 2/3 of the ways to die, yeah.
So it could have been disease, could have been a heart attack. They don't know. They don't have the medical science to figure that shit out.
Especially internal medicine. Kind of sucked at that.
But it is quite clear that deaths started to pick up back then.
So we have the date, the numbers, and that the locals are completely oblivious to what has been happening.
If we have a number of how many people died, God only knows. The gods only know how many actually died from this.
Don't suppose I can count that high.
And how many diseases are going on.
Yes.
You know, I really feel it was that damn aqueduct rebuild they did. We had a really good aqueduct leading all the way from the spring, but they just had to change it.
When did they rebuild it?
Well, the aqueduct was rebuilt like a couple of months ago, or a little bit more. I don't really remember. I wasn't paying attention. It was too far away from here where they did it.
So whatever's bugging the population has probably come through the water from a new supply.
Or they angered the gods.
Or they have indeed angered the gods.
They might have angered the river spirit. They say the Efka has a very temperous one.
I am of the descendant of gods. We shall go and parlay with it.
The scribe just kind of looks at you and goes, "Oh, yeah."
Why they get all the weirdos, right?
Yeah. Where do they get the weirdos?
It's almost like there's an entirely huge amount of demigods in Greek and Roman.
If you're going to parlay, I personally recommend that if you're in town for a while, do you visit bathhouses much?
Typically not while on the road.
When the finances allow, yes, indeed.
I recommend not going to the one of Bartle. He's in the northwest, and it's near the disease district. And oh boy, that seems to be. He was really close to where it started to pick up. So don't go there if you can help yourself. Although I guess I shouldn't have to tell you. He scratches the back of his head because he feels kind of silly about it now. Sorry, I'm under a lot of pressure. A lot of obituaries to write.
Well,
we have at least 2 leads now. Well, you don't have to. I could go, considering I do have some protection. At least I think I do have some protection against the disease. So what we could do is split up and then meet up in a location that
I also believe I have protection against the disease.
In what way?
I am chosen by Apollo, the god of healing, who gave medicine to man.
Nope. No, dice fell off the table.
Hmm.
Okay. So, what's your plan? You've talked to the scribe. He sort of sits there. He starts to go back to work because he assumes you're done with talking to him.
So we have two destinations to investigate: the aqueduct and whatever it's coming from, and the bathhouses, which is where I assume some of the water ends up at.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that this aqueduct could possibly be the problem.
Could be. So, are you
Maybe,
leaving the
but with
the scribe's little quarter?
Yes.
You happen to
Yes.
see as you leave the place a man with a large stick, and from that stick hang many amulets, some made of bone, some made of what seems to be ivory, others made of stones, petals, or metal. And he pawns his wares with a loud, boisterous voice. Alexander's amulets! Protect yourself from the foul illness with Alexander's amulets!
We'll just check. Are there anything related to Apollo or Helios? Same thing.
He has so many. He has like every single god he has hanging. One of each. Because he might have slow business, maybe he doesn't.
I'm gonna go get something for Apollo. It's kind of a duty.
Ah, good sir, welcome to Alexander's Amulets. I sell amulets specialized in protecting one from, well, the diseases that have spread and are wretching the city. Do know the gods will eventually turn around. Things will come our way, but until then, an amulet, that's the way to go.
There truly is only one god of healing. Good sir, I require an amulet of Apollo.
Ah, yes. 500 sestity. That's 5 aurum for a single one of my most beautiful amulets. They're beautiful and powerful. Certainly.
500?
They are powerful. Your health. You cannot put a price on health nowadays.
Believe that this may be taking advantage of the situation.
Oh, perhaps. But at the same time, such powerful pendants and trinkets, they are in high demand in the city. High demand. I simply set the price that is well within reason. You will certainly make more than 500 sestity if you happen to not fall ill in these dire times.
What will happen
be
to your...
open to bargaining?
Ah, but I follow the old Greek order of not. Both of you give me a no roll.
A what roll?
A no roll. It should be at the top of your sheet.
Oh,
Near
no.
your luck. Como, I think, makes it.
Yes, 75 is mine.
You're probably gonna make this. Yeah, you made it.
95.
Yeah, you figured this out. So this man, he dresses Greek with his fancy robes and all, but Alexander isn't Greek for one. But what isn't Greek as well is the fact that he looks very Syrian. He looks from the area more than he looks from Greek.
From Greece.
Yes.
So he is a hack.
Yes. Perhaps.
We should probably point that out and see what we can get out of him, either in terms of information or a sample of his amulets for Zala.
Apollo is actually not interested anymore. Besides, there's no temple of Apollo in the area, which would likely mean that he wouldn't get any trouble for this. He's not selling in the temple, is he?
He's selling quite near the temple. Close enough that people can notice him, but not close enough that anyone's gonna draw ire.
Yeah, there's not much we could do to him then.
Hey, Como, how about you roll me an occult check as you take a look at the
one
amulets?
That is 36, and I need 40.
Every single amulet that he has hanging from his fancy stick is fake. The only one that's real is the one that he's wearing.
That is interesting.
You can actually sense a strange aura come from the one that he's wearing, is what I mean.
Well, I would like to inquire about the specific amulet and suggest that he might actually be a freaking hack.
Roll persuade to get...
Okay. 74.
Is that enough? Yes.
Let me see.
What do you want to squeeze out of him?
No, it's actually not enough. 74. I need 70. So.
Okay. Okay, I got it wrong. Sorry. My head keeps turning around numbers.
Yes.
So, no, he doesn't have anything. He doesn't...
To say.
Doesn't care.
I think one problem I can see with the Call of Cthulhu system is for those social roles, having it be an automatic pass or fail. You know, you get your persuade up to, say, 80. You have a 4 out of 5 chance of being able to get people to do basically
Actually, that's a problem with the 6th system. In 7E, you have fifths and halves, so you have hards and extremes to roll for.
Okay.
That's kind of why I like the 7E rule system so much, is there's a little bit more flexibility on how rolls play out.
Well,
Yeah,
let's see.
With the social ones, that could be a problem.
But to be fair, if you're a slick talker, that's your whole spiel. And you invest a lot of skill points into that.
Yep.
Yeah, but even the slickest talker can't get everyone to do something every time.
Okay.
It just seems like it's...
Well, what was Como? Como wants to say something.
I would like to force the roll and see how that will work out.
Okay, go for it.
All right, this is going to explode in my face.
No,
Actually, it won't. It's 8%.
That's enough. So what do you want? What do you want to squeeze out of this man?
Where did he get the amulet? Considering that's the only one that is real.
He looks a bit shocked for a quick moment, but he's a salesman who knows his craft, so he quickly rubs his face and rubs off his slight doubt and goes, well, I make these amulets myself, of course. What else do you think I get them from?
Yeah, well, why are the rest of them fake? Why is the only real one?
It takes a lot of effort to make a real amulet, of course. These will naturally be enchanted when I sell them.
No, they won't be. But...
And why would they not be? You have not bought one.
Well, yes, I do not have proof, so I probably shouldn't call him out on that one just yet.
Zyla sounded like she had an idea.
I think I lost it.
Hmm?
No, I was just saying, how do you know they won't be? Because you're like, they won't be. Like,
it takes lots of effort to make an amulet, you know. Can't just enchant them all on a dime.
Let's see. 1 second.
But
Do you have the manual open, by the way?
What do you want, Como? What's I'll ask? Sure question.
A question: how do you intend on enchanting these with the power of a god when there's no temple to that god in the city?
Yes.
Well,
Also,
one does not always need the temple of a god in order to make a fancy amulet that protects one from disease. Como, what do you want to ask?
I'm pretty sure Soothsayer is supposed to be able to create those. Could you please check the manual on the exact process of creation of an amulet?
Yeah, but you're also a doctor who's non-religious, apparently, which isn't really...
The bigger problem here, Como, is that you'd need to know the spell in order to be able to know the specifics of said spell. However, I'll humor you, and I'll let you roll occult.
Okay, fair enough. 52. That's too much.
Yeah.
Better said no.
You have a hunch. You have a pretty strong hunch that you can't just enchant an amulet on a dime, but you've got like no specifics with which you can confront him.
Yes.
So it's the nagging feeling, where at the same time there's the nagging feeling that you've got nothing on him, really.
Yes. Other than the fact that he is selling the fakes.
Now you're going to prove that is the question.
Yes. We might have to come back later.
He walks off because you're not paying customers, and there's no paying customers here, so why is he hanging around with you, losers?
Hey. We're right here.
Yeah, he'll repeat it. I want us to know.
So, we can stop it here, and we can continue later. Or we can go on a little bit further. I think Sila might want to go to bed.
I think it might be a good time to stop. It's 2:30.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry about keeping you a bit longer than was expected.
It's okay.
It's Friday, unless I just
No, Silas' weekend is Thursday, Friday, so.
Yeah, and it's Saturday morning.
Yeah, okay, sorry about keeping you up then. In that case, we can...
On the upside,
Yes?
I'm not all that tired, and I do have my 5-day weekend coming up.
Yep, we might do
Okay.
some. We might do some
Spring
Pathfinder. We might do
Festival.
some COC. Who knows? Did you like the session?
It was neat.
It was neat.
I gotta get.
I still
into
have.
this. Yeah.
The
I
only
still have a
problem is
couple of
that...
issues possibly with the system. Like you said, 770 is better, but the auto pass fail system has always kind of been an issue for me when it doesn't have gradients.
Mm-hmm.
Because with the social stuff, like I said, it doesn't make sense that you can be that good and it halfway turns almost to mind control abilities. Like, you talk to anybody, it's roll persuade. I pass. Roll persuade. I pass.
Well, that for one depends on what you're doing. If you're trying to bargain or fast talk or persuade. So that's for one. But secondly, yes, you are right. I should probably do some more flexible DCs. Say like roll your skill, but then -10.
Yeah. Or give changes to your pass percentage.
That's what I meant. Is you roll, but you have to roll 10 lower than your stat instead.
Okay.
I'll try to enforce that a bit. Make things more interesting.
Yeah, because I'm really fine with it for physical skills, because you can be consistent in those, because that's physics.
Yes.
Yes.
But talking, you gotta get a read on someone before you can legitimately, consistently play someone.
And especially for people from other cultures, which the city-states at this time, even in the Roman Legion.
Maybe we could just give it a modifier depending on how well we know the person.
That's what I meant. Is enforce some flexibility there.
Yes. So look, when you have the time.
Yeah, I was about to say I have to give Como history medicine lecture.
Yes.
Which is the class I took. It's great.
Cool.
I need you to educate me.
I'm gonna stop the recording.
Okay.
Unless you've got anything else to add.
Nothing that I want people to hear.
Nothing yet.